Spring break is the time of year when students from all over the country head to popular tourist destinations to relax, unwind, and enjoy the freedom that comes with a school break. The sun, the sand, and the excitement of a new adventure await them, but sometimes what seems like an idyllic getaway can take a dark turn, turning carefree fun into a struggle for survival. These are 4 true spring break horror stories that will make you think twice before planning your next trip. These are tales of terror, dangerous moments, and unexpected twists that no one could have predicted. Spring break was a time for college. Students to escape the stress of exams and assignments, to seek refuge in the warm sun and relaxed days on the beach, and to create memories they would cherish for years to come. For Sarah and her friends, it was no different. They had booked a beachfront hotel in Cancun, Mexico, a place known for its vibrant nightlife, crystal-clear waters, and bustling party scene. The excitement of the trip was contagious as they anticipated days filled with fun and adventure. The first few days of the trip were everything they had imagined. They spent their mornings lounging on the beach, sipping cold drinks and swimming in the ocean, while their nights were filled with dancing, music, and laughter. But as the days passed, something started to feel a little off. It wasn't anything obvious, just an odd sensation, like an itch you couldn't scratch. Sarah, in particular, couldn't shake the feeling that someone was watching her. At first, she dismissed it, thinking it was just the thrill of being in a new place. One night, after a long day of partying, Sarah decided to take a break from the festivities. Her friends were heading out again, but she felt exhausted and opted to stay in the hotel room and relax. It had been a busy few days, and she needed some quiet time to recharge. Her friends agreed to check on her later in the night, and with a nod, Sarah locked the door behind them. The hotel room was small but cozy, with a bed large enough to stretch out on, a TV, and a small balcony overlooking the ocean. Sarah sat on the bed, picked up her phone and started scrolling through social media. She had barely returned from a brief nap when she realized it was later than she thought. The door was still locked, but the blinds were slightly open. She hadn't opened them, so she assumed the wind had moved them. As Sarah sat up and moved toward the window to close the blinds, she heard a faint whispering sound. It came from the direction of the bathroom. At first she thought it was just the wind again, or maybe a loose object in the room, but then it happened again, a soft creak followed by the faintest of floorboard squeaks. Her heartbeat quickened as she tried to brush it off as her imagination. Sarah called out, "Hello?" Her voice trembled, but there was no response. She stood still, listening for any sign of movement or sound, but it was silent, almost too silent. She began to walk slowly toward the bathroom, her steps muffled by the carpet. She told herself it was probably housekeeping, though they had already cleaned the room earlier. Still, her instincts told her she needed to check, so she stepped closer to the bathroom door and gently pushed it open. To her surprise, the bathroom was empty. There was no one there. She turned to leave, confused, but then something caught her attention, a figure standing just behind the shower curtain. The silhouette of a man was faintly visible through the thin fabric. Her breath caught in her throat as she realized she wasn't alone. For a brief moment, Sarah remained frozen, unsure of what to do. Should she run? Should she scream? Her mind raced and panic crawled up her spine. The man behind the curtain didn't move, nor did he make a sound. It was as if he was waiting for her to move first. Sarah slowly stepped back, never taking her eyes off the curtain. The floorboards creaked again, louder this time. She stepped forward and with a trembling hand reached for the curtain. As she yanked it open, she found the bathroom empty. No one was hiding, no one lurking behind her. Yet the feeling of being watched was undeniable. Her pulse pounded as she turned toward the door, wanting to leave but realizing she had no way out. The room was silent, but something was different now. The air felt thick, and the sense of danger was palpable. She checked the door, still locked. She checked the windows, still shut. She checked the balcony, no one there either. But when she turned back toward the bed, she saw something that sent a chill down her spine. Her phone was gone. Sarah had left it charging on the nightstand before her nap, but now it was missing. In its place was a small handwritten note in handwriting she didn't recognize. The note simply read, I know where you are." Her heart pounded as she realized the magnitude of the situation. The man in the bathroom had been in her room, and now her phone was gone. She had no way to contact her friends and no idea who had been in the room with her. The door was locked, the windows secure, but the feeling of terror gripped her. Suddenly, Sarah heard a soft noise behind her, a faint tapping sound almost too subtle to notice. She turned, expecting to see a reflection in the mirror, but there was nothing, just the sound. She couldn't figure out where it was coming from. The tapping grew louder, and Sarah froze. It was coming from inside the walls, as if something was knocking from the other side. She moved closer to the wall, her heart racing, and pressed her ear against it. The tapping stopped, and then there was a loud thud on the floor, followed by the unmistakable sound of footsteps. That was when Sarah realized she wasn't alone in the room. Someone was moving inside the hotel's walls. The noise kept growing, the footsteps becoming more deliberate. Whoever or whatever was inside was getting closer. In a blind panic, Sarah ran to the door, tried the handle again, but it wouldn't budge. She was trapped. She screamed for help, her voice echoing through the empty room. But the hotel was eerily silent. There was no response, no sign of life outside her door. Just when she was about to lose hope, the door suddenly rattled. A soft knock followed by a sharp tug on the handle. Someone was trying to get in. The moment of absolute terror where she thought the door would burst open and she would come face to face with whatever was on the other side seemed endless. But in an instant, the door swung open. It wasn't an intruder. It was one of her friends. Relief flooded Sarah's chest as she saw familiar faces outside. They had come to check on her, just as they had promised, but they had no idea what she had been through. They knew nothing about the strange tapping, the whispered message, or the feeling of being watched. They rushed inside, asking if she was okay, and Sarah could barely speak through her pounding heart. She was safe, but she would never be able to explain the horrors she had faced in that room. As they left, her friends reassured her that everything was fine. They would report the strange events to the hotel staff, but there was no guarantee the hotel would do anything about it. The next morning, Sarah and her friends packed up and checked out of the hotel, eager to leave the terrifying experience behind. The hotel management seemed indifferent to the events, dismissing Sarah's concerns. The staff said there was nothing unusual about the room, and assured the group that no one had entered the room after they left. However, as they walked away, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that something was still watching them. As she glanced back at the hotel one last time, she swore she saw a shadow, not a person, just a figure that vanished the moment she blinked. It was as if the hotel was still alive, still haunted by something that had never left.